Have you ever looked at a couple with a noticeable age difference and thought, she could have chosen anyone, so why him? And if you have ever asked yourself that question, there is something else you have probably never admitted out loud. Part of you was not curious about her, you were curious about what she saw. Because somewhere deep inside, there is a fear that time is quietly taking things away from you. A fear that one day women will stop looking at you the same way. That age is a door that closes and never opens again. If that thought has ever crossed your mind, even for a second, stay with me. And if these conversations make you think a little deeper about yourself and the people you care about, consider subscribing. Not because I need another number on a screen, but because some truths are easier to face when you do not face them alone. Now, I want to tell you something that might make you uncomfortable. Many men believe women fall for older men because of money, status, or security. Sometimes those things matter, but they are rarely the whole story, because attraction is almost never as logical as people pretend it is. I have sat across from women in my office who were intelligent, independent, financially successful, and completely capable of building their own lives. Yet when they spoke about the man who captured their heart, they rarely started with his bank account. They talked about how they felt around him. That is the part most people miss. A woman may notice your appearance, she may notice your success, but what she remembers is how her nervous system felt in your presence. Did she feel pressured? Did she feel judged? Did she feel like she had to perform? Or did she feel something she rarely experiences in modern dating, a sense of calm? Because here is a strange truth about attraction. Many younger women spend years surrounded by uncertainty. Men who do not know what they want. Men who change personalities depending on who is watching. Men who chase attention but avoid emotional responsibility. And after enough experiences like that, something inside a woman begins searching for stability. Not perfection, stability. There is a difference. Perfection feels intimidating. Stability feels safe. And sometimes an older man represents that stability, not because of his age itself, but because of what age has forced him to learn. The heartbreaks, the failures, the mistakes, the moments where life humbled him so deeply that pretending became exhausting. A lot of younger men are still trying to prove themselves. Many older men have already discovered that proving yourself never fills the emptiness you thought it would. That realization changes a person. It changes how he speaks, how he listens, how he handles conflict, how he sits in silence. And women notice those things far more than men realize. In fact, one of the most attractive qualities a woman can feel from a man is emotional steadiness. Not emotional suppression, steadiness. Those are not the same thing. A man who suppresses emotions feels distant. A man who is emotionally steady feels grounded. He can feel disappointment without becoming bitter. He can feel attraction without becoming desperate. He can care deeply without losing himself. And when a woman encounters that energy, it often feels different from what she is used to. Not exciting in a chaotic way, exciting in a way that feels surprisingly peaceful. But here is where it gets complicated, because the thing many women fall for is not actually age. It is what they imagine age represents. And sometimes that perception is accurate, sometimes it is not. Sometimes a younger man carries tremendous wisdom. Sometimes an older man carries tremendous immaturity. The number itself is never the whole story, yet people continue focusing on the number because it is easier than looking deeper. It is easier to say, she likes older men. Harder to say, she feels something around him that she has not felt around anyone else. And that feeling often begins long before she fully understands it herself. At first, it is subtle. A conversation that lingers in her mind, a strange sense of comfort, a feeling that she can breathe a little easier when he is around. Nothing dramatic, nothing cinematic, just a quiet emotional shift. And those quiet shifts, they are often where the strongest attractions begin. The strange thing about attraction is that it rarely announces itself. Most people imagine attraction as fireworks, a rush, an instant spark. But some of the deepest connections begin so quietly that neither person notices what is happening at first. A woman meets a man. Maybe they talk for 10 minutes, maybe an hour. Nothing extraordinary happens. No dramatic flirting, no grand gestures. Yet later that night, while she is doing something completely unrelated, his words return to her mind. Not because they were brilliant, not because they were rehearsed, because they felt real. And that matters more than most men understand. You see, many women spend years hearing what men think they want to hear. Compliments that sound copied and pasted. Conversations designed to impress. Attention that feels more like a performance than genuine interest. After enough of that, authenticity becomes surprisingly attractive. It feels rare, almost refreshing. And this is where some age gap relationships begin forming their emotional foundation. Not through manipulation, not through some mysterious psychological trick, but through the simple experience of being seen differently. A woman starts noticing that this man is not trying so hard to be noticed, and paradoxically, that makes him more noticeable. Think about that for a moment. The men who are desperately seeking validation often project tension. The men who no longer need constant validation often project calm. Human beings are incredibly sensitive to emotional energy. We feel it before we understand it. A woman may not consciously think, "This man is emotionally secure." Instead, she feels something difficult to explain. Conversations feel easier. Silences feel less awkward. She does not feel pressured to entertain him every second. She does not feel like she is constantly being evaluated. And slowly, without realizing it, she begins relaxing around him. That relaxation is important because attraction is not only about excitement, it is also about emotional safety. Now, I want to be careful here. When people hear the phrase emotional safety, they often imagine something soft or passive. That is not what I mean. Some of the most emotionally safe men have very strong personalities. They have opinions, boundaries, standards. They simply do not create unnecessary emotional chaos. And that difference can feel powerful, especially for women who have spent years navigating relationships filled with mixed signals. One day affection, the next day distance. One week certainty, the next week confusion. Those patterns create emotional exhaustion. At first, chaos can feel exciting, but over time, chaos becomes tiring. Predictability starts feeling attractive. Consistency starts feeling attractive. Peace starts feeling attractive. And this is where many men misunderstand women. They assume women are always chasing excitement. But what many women are actually searching for is emotional depth. The problem is that emotional depth and emotional drama often look similar from a distance. One feels intense because it is meaningful. The other feels intense because it is unstable. Learning the difference takes experience, sometimes painful experience. I remember a woman once describing a man she had fallen deeply in love with. She paused for a long time before explaining why. Then she said something that stayed with me. She said, "When I was with him, I never felt like I was auditioning for a role." That sentence carried so much truth. Because many people spend years feeling like they must earn love, earn attention, earn approval, earn affection. When someone makes you feel accepted without making you feel complacent, something shifts internally. You stop performing, you start revealing, and genuine intimacy begins. This is often why some women become deeply attached to older partners. Not because they are older, but because those partners sometimes create an environment where emotional masks become unnecessary, where conversations become honest, where insecurities can exist without immediately becoming weaknesses, where vulnerability does not feel dangerous. And once a woman experiences that feeling, she often realizes she was not looking for excitement alone. She was looking for emotional rest, the kind of rest that comes from finally feeling understood. And that realization can change everything, because the connection is no longer based on appearance, or age, or status. It begins moving somewhere much deeper, into the part of the human heart that quietly asks one question over and over again: can I truly be myself with you? And when that question starts getting answered, attraction often becomes something far more powerful than attraction. It starts becoming attachment. This is usually the point where people on the outside begin getting the story completely wrong. They see the age difference, they notice the years between them, and they assume they understand everything. But relationships are rarely that simple, because what people see from the outside is almost never the same thing that two people experience behind closed doors. A woman may hear comments from friends, questions from family, judgments from strangers. Sometimes they are subtle, sometimes they are not. Why are you with him? What do you even have in common? Don't you want someone your own age? And what is fascinating is that those questions often reveal more about the people asking them than the relationship itself. Because many people struggle to understand connections that do not fit their expectations. We like simple explanations. Simple explanations make us feel comfortable. But human emotions are not simple. Human emotions are messy, contradictory, complicated. A woman can feel deeply connected to a man who is 15 years older than her and feel completely disconnected from someone her own age. That does not mean age does not matter. It simply means age is not the only thing that matters. And this is where another uncomfortable truth appears. Many women are not actually attracted to certainty. They are attracted to emotional clarity. Those sound similar, but they are very different things. Certainty says, I know exactly how everything will turn out. Emotional clarity says, I know who I am, even if life becomes difficult. One is impossible. The other is incredibly attractive. A man who has lived through enough life often develops a different relationship with uncertainty. He understands that plans fail, people change, dreams evolve, life surprises you, again and again. And because of that, he may stop trying to control everything. He becomes more present, more patient, more grounded. That groundedness can feel magnetic. Not because it is dramatic, because it is rare. Especially in a world where so many people are constantly anxious about proving their worth. Have you ever noticed how exhausting it feels to spend time with someone who is always trying to impress everyone? There is a tension there, a constant effort, a feeling that the performance never ends. Now compare that to someone who knows who they are, someone who is not perfect, not arrogant, not detached, just comfortable in their own skin. The difference is immediate. You can feel it, and women feel it too. In fact, many women describe attraction in ways that men often overlook. They talk about presence, energy, comfort, trust. Not because looks do not matter, they do. But attraction becomes far more complex once genuine emotional connection enters the picture. And this is where some age gap relationships become unexpectedly powerful. The woman begins seeing something beneath the surface, a man who no longer feels the need to chase every opportunity for validation. A man who can enjoy attention without depending on it. A man who is comfortable being alone. That last part is especially important because loneliness and solitude are not the same thing. Loneliness is painful, solitude is peaceful. A surprising number of women are drawn toward men who have learned how to be alone without becoming bitter. Why? Because it signals emotional maturity. It suggests that the relationship is a choice rather than a necessity. And there is something deeply attractive about being wanted instead of needed. Wanted feels free. Needed can sometimes feel heavy. The healthiest relationships often grow from two people choosing each other rather than trying to rescue each other. But there is another layer to this that almost nobody talks about. A woman may initially admire a man's confidence, his calmness, his experience. Yet what truly captures her heart is often something much softer, something hidden underneath all of those qualities, his humanity. The moments where she sees his imperfections, the moments where she realizes he is not pretending to be invincible, the moments where strength and vulnerability exist together. Because despite what many people believe, women are not usually searching for a flawless man. Flawless people are difficult to connect with. They feel distant, untouchable. What creates intimacy is seeing someone's scars and realizing they did not allow those scars to harden their heart. That is where emotional depth lives. And when a woman begins discovering that depth, when she starts realizing that the man she admires is also someone she can genuinely trust, the connection often becomes stronger than either of them expected. Because now she is no longer attracted only to who he appears to be. She is becoming attached to who he really is. And that is where relationships stop feeling exciting in a temporary way and start feeling meaningful in a lasting one. And this is the part nobody warns you about. The moment a connection becomes meaningful, fear quietly enters the room. Not because something is wrong, because something finally matters. A woman can enjoy attention from dozens of men and feel almost nothing. But when one man begins reaching the deeper parts of her emotional world, the experience changes completely. Suddenly she has something to lose. Suddenly his opinion matters more than she expected. His absence feels heavier. His presence feels more significant. And that realization can be frightening, especially when the connection feels different from what she imagined for herself. Many women grow up carrying an invisible picture of how love is supposed to look. The right age, the right timeline, the right circumstances, the right story. Then life happens, and sometimes the person who makes her feel most understood does not match the picture she spent years creating. That creates an internal conflict most people never see. Because attraction is not always a battle between two people. Sometimes it is a battle between emotion and expectation. Part of her may feel deeply connected, another part may question everything. What will people think? Will this work long term? Am I making a mistake? Am I seeing reality clearly? Those questions are normal. In healthy relationships, they should exist. Real love is not blind. Real love asks difficult questions. The problem is that outsiders often assume those questions only exist because of the age difference. But every meaningful relationship contains uncertainty. Every meaningful relationship asks people to take emotional risks. Age gap relationships simply make those risks more visible, and visibility attracts judgment. What fascinates me is how often people underestimate the emotional courage required to choose a relationship that others may not immediately understand. Because human beings have a deep desire to belong, to be accepted, to avoid criticism. Going against social expectations is rarely comfortable, yet people do it all the time when a connection feels genuine enough. Not recklessly, not blindly, but honestly. And honesty can be surprisingly powerful. I once spoke with a woman who described falling for a man much older than herself. She spent months fighting her feelings, months convincing herself it would disappear, months trying to focus on all the reasons it should not matter. Yet the harder she resisted, the clearer something became. The connection was not growing because she wanted it to. It was growing because every conversation revealed another layer of authenticity she rarely found elsewhere. That does not mean the relationship was perfect. No relationship is. But perfection was never what she was searching for. She was searching for truth, for emotional alignment, for the feeling that the person sitting across from her genuinely understood who she was beneath the surface. And that brings us to something many men overlook. Women are often paying attention to how a man responds to emotional reality. Not just emotional comfort, reality. What happens when things become difficult? What happens when expectations are not met? What happens when disappointment enters the relationship? Anyone can appear attractive when life is easy. Character becomes visible when life becomes complicated. And this is where experience can sometimes create an advantage. Not because older automatically means wiser, it does not. But because life eventually forces people to confront themselves, their insecurities, their ego, their fears, their regrets. Some people avoid those lessons, others grow through them. The men who grow through them often develop something women find deeply reassuring: perspective. The ability to see a problem without immediately becoming overwhelmed by it. The ability to disagree without turning every disagreement into a crisis. The ability to remain emotionally present when situations become uncomfortable. That kind of steadiness creates trust. And trust is where many powerful relationships are built. Because attraction may open the door, chemistry may create excitement, but trust is what allows two people to stay long enough to discover who they really are. Without trust, everything feels temporary. With trust, people begin imagining a future. And once that future starts appearing in a woman's mind, the connection often becomes far more serious than she ever intended. Not because she was looking for an older man, but because she found a person who made her feel emotionally safe enough to imagine staying. And for many women, that feeling is far rarer than people think. What makes this even more complicated is that many women do not recognize what is happening until they are already emotionally invested. At first, they tell themselves it is just admiration, respect, curiosity, a meaningful conversation, nothing more. And honestly, Sometimes that is exactly what it is. But sometimes something deeper begins developing underneath those explanations. Not suddenly, slowly, almost invisibly, because real emotional attachment rarely arrives with a dramatic announcement. It arrives through accumulation. One conversation becomes 10, one shared moment becomes 20, one feeling of comfort becomes a pattern. And eventually she notices something she cannot ignore anymore. She looks forward to hearing from him. She remembers small details about him without trying. She finds herself wondering what he would think about things happening in her life. That is when the connection starts moving beyond attraction. It begins becoming part of her emotional world, and that shift can be surprisingly powerful. You see, many people think attraction is about finding someone exciting, but lasting attraction often has more to do with emotional significance. The person becomes important, not because they are perfect, not because they constantly create intense emotions, because they occupy space in your mind and heart in a way others do not. And when that happens, age often starts fading into the background, not disappearing completely, but losing its position as the most important thing. The emotional experience becomes more influential than the number itself. What matters is how she feels when she is with him. What matters is whether she trusts him, whether she respects him, whether she feels understood, whether she can imagine building something meaningful together. Those questions eventually become much bigger than age. But here is a truth that many men need to hear. Some women are attracted to older men for unhealthy reasons, and some men pursue younger women for unhealthy reasons. That reality exists. Human beings are complicated. Sometimes people seek relationships to escape loneliness, to avoid dealing with unresolved pain, to gain validation, to feel powerful, to avoid growing. Those motivations can appear in any relationship, regardless of age. That is why age alone never determines whether a relationship is healthy. Character does. Intentions do. Emotional maturity does. Two people can have a large age difference and create an incredibly respectful, supportive partnership. Two people can be the exact same age and create a deeply unhealthy relationship. The number itself does not guarantee anything, and perhaps that is one of the most important truths in this entire conversation. Because society often focuses on visible differences, the things people can easily measure: age, appearance, income, status. But the strongest relationships are usually built on things nobody can see immediately: mutual respect, trust, patience, kindness, emotional honesty, shared values, the willingness to grow together. Those qualities do not create dramatic headlines, they create lasting bonds. And lasting bonds are often far less glamorous than people imagine. They are built in ordinary moments: a conversation after a difficult day, a reassuring hand during uncertainty, a feeling that someone is genuinely listening instead of simply waiting to speak. Those moments seem small, yet they are often where love quietly deepens. In fact, one of the biggest misconceptions about attraction is the belief that intensity always creates connection. It does not. Intensity creates emotion. Connection creates meaning. And meaning is what keeps people emotionally invested long after novelty fades. This is why some women stay deeply attached to men who make them feel emotionally grounded. Not because the relationship is constantly exciting, because it feels real, because it feels stable, because it feels worth protecting. And perhaps that is the hidden truth beneath many age gap relationships. The attraction may begin with curiosity, but what sustains it is usually something much deeper. A sense of emotional partnership, a sense of being understood, a sense of finally finding someone who sees beyond appearances and connects with the person underneath. And once that happens, the relationship is no longer about age, it becomes about meaning. And maybe that is where we should end this conversation. Not with age, not with attraction, not even with relationships, but with something much deeper. Because if you have listened this far, there is a chance this topic was never really about women falling for older men. There is a chance it was about something happening inside you. Maybe you were searching for reassurance. Maybe you were wondering whether time is still on your side. Maybe you have looked in the mirror lately and noticed changes that did not exist 10 years ago. The grey hair, the tired eyes, the years that seem to pass faster than they should have. And maybe a part of you has quietly asked a question you rarely say out loud. Am I becoming less desirable? That question lives in more men than you think. Men in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Even men who appear confident on the outside often carry it somewhere deep inside. Because aging forces every human being to confront something uncomfortable. The realization that you cannot rely forever on the things that once came easily. Youth fades, looks change, energy shifts. Time moves forward whether you are ready or not. But here is what years of listening to people have taught me. The men who become more attractive with age are usually not the men trying desperately to hold on to youth. They are the men who learn how to grow into themselves. The men who become more honest, more grounded, more emotionally available, more comfortable in their own skin. There is something quietly powerful about a man who no longer feels the need to prove his worth every moment. A man who knows who he is. A man who can sit across from another person without performing, without pretending, without constantly seeking approval. That kind of confidence feels different. It does not demand attention. It naturally earns respect. And ironically, that is often the quality many women notice most. Not the age, not the status, not the appearance. The self-awareness, the emotional depth, the calm strength, the feeling that this man has met life face to face and remained open-hearted despite it. Because life has a way of hardening people. Disappointments harden people, rejection hardens people, betrayal hardens people. Many individuals build walls so high that nobody can truly reach them. But the people who remain emotionally alive after all of that, those people are rare, and rare things are memorable. Maybe that is why some women are drawn towards certain older men. Not because those men escaped pain, but because they transformed pain into wisdom instead of bitterness. There is a profound difference. Bitterness pushes people away. Wisdom draws people closer. One closes the heart, the other opens it. And when a woman senses that openness, she often responds to it instinctively, not because she is calculating, not because she is following a formula, because human beings naturally move toward emotional authenticity. We all do. At the end of the day, the strongest relationships are rarely built on age alone. They are built on the qualities that age sometimes helps reveal. Character, patience, humility, trust, emotional presence, the willingness to truly see another person. And if there is one thing I hope you take away from this conversation, it is this. The most attractive thing about a man is not how young he looks. It is not how much attention he gets. It is not how hard he tries to impress people. It is the peace he creates within himself. Because people can feel that peace. Women can feel it. Friends can feel it. Family can feel it. And most importantly, you can feel it. The moment you stop measuring your worth by the passing of time and start measuring it by the person you are becoming, something changes. You stop fearing age. You start respecting it. You stop seeing the years as something being taken away from you. You begin seeing them as something being added to you. Depth, perspective, wisdom, strength. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind, the kind that does not need to announce itself, the kind that simply exists. And perhaps that is the secret hidden beneath so many meaningful relationships. People are not falling in love with a number, they are falling in love with the person behind it, the stories, the scars, the growth, the humanity. And when two people truly connect at that level, age becomes part of the story, but it is never the whole story. If this conversation made you think about yourself in a different way, stay connected and join me for the next one. Because sometimes the truths that change us most are the ones we almost ignored.